Battle of the Beasts. The sun hadn't fully risen when three silhouettes appeared on the horizon. They weren't just SUVs. They weren't just cars. They were statements of power, rolling symbols of what modern performance had become. This was not a racetrack duel. This was not an off-road challenge alone. This was a battle for dominance in a world where luxury, speed, and brutality now shared the same DNA. Welcome to the Battle of the Beasts. The contenders arrived. First came the Ferrari Purosangue, low, wide, and unapologetically exotic. Even standing still, it looked like it was breaking speed limits. Ferrari's first ever four-door, four-seat machine carried the weight of history on its shoulders. Purists doubted it, rivals laughed at it, but Ferrari didn't come to ask for permission. It came to redefine the rules. Moments later, the Aston Martin DBX S glided into view. Elegant, confident, deadly. This was British luxury sharpened into a weapon. Where Ferrari shouted, Aston whispered, but whispers can be just as dangerous. The DBX S didn't need drama. Its presence spoke of tailored suits hiding fighter instincts underneath. Then the ground began to shake. The Land Rover Defender OCTA arrived like a war machine, tall, wide, armored by design. It didn't care about elegance or lap times. This was raw strength, engineered for chaos. Deserts, mountains, battlefields, and beyond. While the others were born in studios and wind tunnels, the Defender OCTA was born in mud and fire. Three beasts, three philosophies, one ultimate question. Which one truly rules? The heart of the beasts. Under the hood, each beast told a different story. The Ferrari Purosangue roared with a naturally aspirated V12, a dying breed kept alive by passion. No turbos, no apologies. Every throttle input delivered instant emotion, a sound that echoed Ferrari's racing soul. This wasn't just power, it was theater. The Aston Martin DBX S, on the other hand, brought precision. Twin turbos, massive torque, a refined monster that could crush highways while keeping its passengers wrapped in luxury. It wasn't about screaming, it was about controlled violence. Then there was the Defender OCTA. Its engine didn't sing, it growled. Built for torque, endurance, and survival, it felt like it could tow mountains and still ask for more. Speed wasn't its main weapon, unstoppability was. Luxury meets brutality. Inside, the differences became even more dramatic. The Purosangue's cabin felt like a Ferrari cockpit expanded for real life. Carbon fiber, leather, digital precision, everything focused on the driver. Even the rear seats felt special, as if Ferrari was saying, yes, you can bring passengers, but this is still about driving. The Aston Martin DBX S felt like a private jet on wheels. Soft leather, perfect stitching, calming ambient light. It didn't demand attention, it earned respect. You could drive it aggressively, then arrive at a black tie event without changing your mood. The Defender OCTA didn't care about red carpets, it cared about survival. Rugged materials, commanding seating position, controls designed to work even when covered in dust or gloves. Luxury here wasn't about softness, it was about confidence anywhere on Earth. On the road, three different kings. On smooth asphalt, the Ferrari Purosangue became untouchable. It cornered like physics were optional. Its suspension defied logic. For something this tall, it moved like a supercar wearing hiking boots. The Aston Martin DBX S followed closely, not trying to outshine, but outclass. Stable, fast, reassuring. It was the kind of SUV that made you faster without scaring you. The perfect balance between thrill and trust. But when the road disappeared, the Defender laughed. Rocks, mud, steep climbs, none of it mattered. Where the others hesitated, the Defender advanced. This was its kingdom. No traction anxiety, no fear, just forward motion. The verdict. No single winner. As the sun set, the beasts stood side by side once more. The truth became clear. Ferrari Purosangue wins the heart. It's an emotional masterpiece, the SUV for those who refuse to let go of pure performance and sound. Aston Martin DBX S wins balance. It's the perfect daily weapon, luxurious, fast, and endlessly confident. Land Rover Defender OCTA wins the world. No matter the terrain, the weather, or the challenge, it will always get you there. This wasn't about which SUV was best. It was about which beast fits your soul. Speed, style, survival. In the end, the real winner of the Battle of the Beasts is choice itself, because in this era, beasts no longer live in cages. They live on the road. When the rules were broken. For decades, the automotive world lived by strict borders. Ferrari belonged on racetracks. Aston Martin lived on grand touring roads. Land Rover ruled the wilderness. SUVs were practical tools, tall, heavy, sensible. Supercars were emotional weapons, low, loud, impractical. Then the world changed. Buyers wanted everything at once: speed and space, luxury and brutality, status and usability. And so the unthinkable happened. Ferrari built an SUV. Aston Martin sharpened it into a missile. Land Rover turned it into an apex predator. This is not a comparison of vehicles. This is a clash of ideologies. The arrival of the beasts. The meeting point was silent. Empty roads, endless terrain. The kind of place where machines reveal their true nature. First to arrive was the Ferrari Purosangue. Low-slung, muscular, aggressive, it didn't look like an SUV. It looked like a Ferrari that had learned to breathe. Long hood, wide shoulders, sharp lines cut with purpose. Ferrari didn't raise the car to chase trends. They reshaped the trend to chase Ferrari. This wasn't compromise. This was defiance. Next came the Aston Martin DBX S. Graceful, confident, understated. Where the Ferrari demanded attention, the Aston commanded it quietly. The proportions were perfect, athletic but elegant. This was the car of someone who doesn't need to prove power, because power already knows their name. And then, thunder. The Land Rover Defender OCTA didn't arrive, it invaded. Tall, wide, armored. It looked like it could survive a war, because it probably could. There was no elegance here, no attempt to impress. This machine existed for one reason: to dominate any environment it enters. 3 vehicles stood still, but the tension felt alive. Souls under the hood. A car's true identity lives in its engine. Ferrari Purosangue, the last roar. Under its sculpted hood sat a naturally aspirated V12, an engine type the world is slowly killing. No turbos, no filters, just mechanical perfection. Every press of the throttle wasn't acceleration, it was emotion released. The sound climbed like an opera, reminding the world why Ferrari engines are considered art. This wasn't just power, this was heritage refusing to die. Aston Martin DBX S, controlled fury. The DBX S chose intelligence over nostalgia. Twin turbos delivered massive torque, smoothly and relentlessly. Power arrived instantly, but never violently. It didn't scream, it asserted. This engine was designed to do everything: crush highways, glide through cities, and still explode forward when demanded. Defender OCTA, the war drum. The Defender's engine wasn't about melody, it was about endurance. Torque-rich, heavy-duty, built to pull, climb, and survive. It felt like it could run forever, in heat, cold, sand, or snow. If the Ferrari was an opera and the Aston a symphony, the Defender was a war chant. Inside the minds of the machines. Open the doors and the philosophies became crystal clear. Ferrari Purosangue, interior. This was a driver's world. Carbon fiber surfaces, digital precision, a cockpit built around control. Even the passenger had their own display, Ferrari reminding everyone that everyone inside was part of the experience. Rear seats? Yes, but they felt like VIP seats at a race, not a family couch. Aston Martin DBX S interior. Step inside and time slowed down. Soft leather, perfect stitching, a calming sense of balance. This wasn't a place to fight the car, it worked with you. Luxury here wasn't loud, it was confident. Defender OCTA interior. Everything inside the Defender had a purpose. Chunky controls, upright seating, massive visibility, materials that didn't fear damage. This cabin didn't whisper comfort, it promised survival and control. On the road, where truth appears. Smooth asphalt revealed the first hierarchy. The Ferrari Purosangue defied physics. For something this tall, it cornered like a supercar. Active suspension, rear-wheel steering, instant response. It didn't feel big, it felt angry at gravity. The Aston Martin DBX S followed with calm dominance, stable, predictable, fast without drama. It made speed feel effortless, not exhausting. Then the road disappeared. Mud, rocks, inclines. The Defender OCTA didn't slow down, it smiled. Where the others hesitated, the Defender advanced. Traction systems worked like instinct. Ground clearance laughed at obstacles. This wasn't performance driving. This was territorial control. The psychological battle. These machines speak to different people. The Ferrari Purosangue speaks to the rebel, someone who wants performance without surrendering practicality, someone who refuses to accept that growing up means slowing down. The Aston Martin DBX S speaks to the strategist, someone who wants power but never chaos, someone who values balance, refinement, and quiet confidence. The Defender OCTA speaks to the conqueror, someone who doesn't ask where they can go because the answer is always anywhere. No crown, only kingdoms. As night fell, the truth settled in. There is no single winner. The Ferrari Purosangue is the king of emotion. The Aston Martin DBX S is the king of balance. The Defender OCTA is the king of the real world. This wasn't a battle to decide superiority. It was a reminder that greatness wears many forms. The era of compromise is over. These are not SUVs pretending to be beasts. These are beasts pretending to be SUVs. And the road, any road, is no longer safe.